Hello everybody and thank you for clicking on this video. The EFL Championship playoff race is heating up as we enter the final stretch of the season. And while the top two might now be almost set, the battle for promotion is far from over. In fourth place, Sunderland have secured their spot in the playoffs, sitting comfortably on 76 points. But let's be honest, things aren't looking too convincing. Their recent form has been shaky and momentum is everything going into the playoffs. If they don't find their rhythm soon, they could be in real danger of an early exit. Meanwhile, Sheffield United, who not that long ago looked like they might push for the title, have hit a major slump. 3 straight losses and just 2 wins in their last 7 games. It's the wrong time of the season to fall apart. They're still in third with 83 points, but Burnley and Leeds have pulled away and their confidence looks shot. And this could make them vulnerable. On the flip side, Bristol City and Frank Lampard's Coventry City are rising at the right time. Bristol are unbeaten in their last few games and sitting in 5th with 64 points. Frank Lampard's Coventry City are just 2 points behind in 6th place with a game in hand as I record this. And they're flying. Their recent performances suggest that they could be the ones to watch in the playoffs. So while Leeds and Burnley are already looking ahead to life in the Premier League, the playoff battle promises drama, twists and maybe a surprise or two. Can Sunderland find form? Will Sheffield United recover? Or are Bristol and Frank Lampard's Coventry City ready to crash the Premier League party? Sunderland essentially booked their place in the playoffs months ago really, but let's be honest, that's possibly been counterproductive. At this point of the season it's all about momentum and that's just something that Sunderland are struggling to find. The situation has given Sunderland the privilege of being able to rotate the squad, giving youngsters such as Harrison Jones starts, for example. However, there's no getting away from the fact that even the key players just haven't quite looked at the races as of late. They've been stuttering in the last few weeks and fans are starting to get nervous. The performances haven't exactly screamed promotion contenders. And that's a problem. This Friday they've got a huge test. A trip to the absolutely brilliant Ashton Gate Stadium to take on 5th place Bristol City. Now these two did draw earlier on in the season at the Stadium of Light, but if you cast your mind back to last year, Bristol actually got the better of Sunderland at Ashton Gate. Personally, no matter what the result is on this Friday, I'd still much rather face Bristol City in the playoffs than Frank Lampard's Coventry City. I'd rather play Bayern Munich than Coventry, to be honest. Sunderland just never ever seem to turn up against Coventry. It's like a curse. It also doesn't help that Coventry's entire existence is Sunderland AFC. So playing Bristol in the semis seems a lot more manageable. So this game could be a real tone setter. If we win at Ashton Gate on Friday, we could build some much needed belief heading into the final few games. We've got Oxford away the week after that. Hopefully I'm going to be going to that. That'll be really exciting. But if we lose, suddenly those doubts start creeping in even deeper. I asked a few Sunderland fans what they think about Sunderland's current situation. L12 Bong said, "Hi Eddie, there was a reality check when we played Leeds. Not a bad performance, but some things subsequently dissipated with the lads after that game. I do believe that Dodds leaving the club at such a bizarre time in the season had something to do with the mentality of the players. Missing their father figure perhaps? Also, and some may think this is harsh, is that Dan Neil is not a captain. For a Sunderland lad through and through, he needs to get his act together and lead the pack and win. I'm worried about the playoffs, Eddie. Something is not right at the moment, mate. Formation and the style of play is lacking quality and tragic to watch at times, and nothing like the start of the season. No connection and no driven motivation. However, we have to believe that they will turn it around heading into the playoffs. As bad as we are playing, Lord help us." Yeah, a lot to unpack there, but I totally agree. There's that Leeds game really did kind of... We already knew, but that game really lifted the lid on the golfing class between them and us. They just looked bigger, stronger, smarter. Just, totally different breed, really. As for Dan Neil, it's kind of... It reminds me of the George Honeyman situation in League One. We seem to gravitate towards giving the captain's armband to one of the local academy products rather than, the natural leader. I always thought, why on earth was Lee Cattermole not the captain in that squad in League One? He was clearly the one, or Grant Ledbetter, but we gave it to George Honeyman because we wanted to be seen to be given the young lad the captain's armband. Robert SCFC9 said, this season we've done pretty well with big teams in the league, Leeds, Sheffield United, Burnley. We haven't done that bad against them considering we finished 16th last season. It's also Reggie's first season in England. I'm really proud of where this club has gotten from being promoted in 2022 and being in the playoffs twice now. I have high hopes we'll get to the finals and hopefully we can pull out a masterclass. I'd like to get promoted so we have the chance of keeping the fee and make more money to improve the squad. If we get relegated, oh well. Learning experience for the young players, however, lads. Yeah, that extra money to improve the squad, and not just the squad, you can level up the entire club, sorry to use a Boris Johnson term there, but you can improve the off-the-field side of it as well. You can command higher sponsorship fees and get better connections on the corporate side of it. Yeah, the club would benefit for years off the back of a season in the Premier League. And hopefully, if you've got Speakman and KLD spending that money properly, you can just upgrade from the bottom up and just lift the club higher and make it more realistic that maybe a second time we got promoted, if we were to go straight back down, we'd have a better go at it until eventually you've got a squad that will get it right and we'd stay up. Eric73 FTM said, we're going to get bummed in the semis. So there you go. And Regis White Army says, if we have our feet up whilst the other three that make the playoffs go hell for leather for the next few weeks and tire themselves out, and then we go and win the playoffs, then it's a masterstroke from RLB. So a mix of feelings from Sunderland fans. It does seem like there's kind of that balance between conserving ourselves for the next few games when we are pretty much locked into the fourth place, but also trying to maintain some form of momentum and feel-good factor going into the playoffs. It's a bizarre situation. I've never known us to be in such a void. We are genuinely always chasing something, whether it's safety, trying to get away from the relegation places in the Premier League, or trying to get promoted. It's rare for Sunderland to just kind of be there. We are almost mid-table in the middle of the hottest title and playoff race for years. It's bizarre. Look, the bottom line is Sunderland simply have to get back to the Premier League. It's not just for the fans, it's not just for the prestige of being in the big league, but because the gap between the Championship and the top flight is getting wider every year. The money, the exposure, the pulling power, it's all drifting further away, and there's a real danger that the Premier League becomes a 17-club closed shop, with the same names circling the top table every year, getting richer and richer, and if you're not in it soon, breaking into that later on becomes almost impossible. Sunderland simply have to get there if they want to remain a big club. This playoff run isn't just about promotion, it's about making sure we don't get left behind.